Well, the NFL playoffs have started, and as they say, you are who we thought you were, and that would be Sam Darnold. We discussed all season, is this the real Sam Darnold? What's going on? He's doing great. The past 2 weeks have kind of exposed him for what he is. We discussed what he lost, and not just the games, but how much money that man lost by the last two performances that he had. We also break down some of the other games: Buffalo over Denver, Baltimore over Pittsburgh, um, Houston over the Chargers, and what happened there. Herbert kind of reverted back to his old ways, and we talk about the coaching carousel, what's going on in Dallas, what's going on in New York. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like and subscribe to us. We're on all the social medias that are so relevant. On Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Blue Sky, we're on YouTube, and wherever else you may get your podcast. Welcome back to the number one local sports podcast in Central Florida. This is Sandlot Sports. I am Adam Capperson. I am here with Dorian Cody.
Sam, I am Darnold.
And BJ Thomas.
Yeah. To repeat something we use frequently, he is who he thought he was.
Yes. So we'll start there. Had a great season. After the Green Bay game in Week 17, they still had a game to go, and a game they needed for their division. When Darnold walked into that locker room, you would have thought he won the Super Bowl. The team was cheering, was popping champagne, and I'm like, y'all didn't actually win anything. Like, you already had a playoff spot. No, seriously. They already had a playoff spot locked up. There was really no reason to play that game because it all came down to the following week with Detroit. So what the hell are you celebrating?
Right.
It was almost like it was a premature celebration. And ever since then, they have been god awful. And you know, that clip from when he was with the Jets to do seeing Ghost, that's a thing. Because the past 2 weeks, he has been hit, he has been sacked, he has been inaccurate. And as BJ said, he is who we thought he was.
It's because they signed Daniel Jones.
that stink just rubs off.
Bought the bad football with him.
Yeah, bad juju. But he was in line to, at a minimum, get a Baker Mayfield deal. 100 years, $100 million over 3 years, which would have been great. He gets his bag. The team does get a team-friendly, quality quarterback contract. I don't know if he's even getting that. Because, I mean, there was talk after Week 17 that, hey, what are you going to do? Because you've had J.J. McCarthy on the bench, who you believe in, regardless of what anyone else may say about him. They believed in him. That's why they picked him in the first round. Mm-hmm. So the idea was they were going to franchise Darnold, which would have paid him $42 million this coming year. See what he's got, and then if he falters, bring in McCarthy. Now, there's no reason to sign him because you see what he does, and the book is out on him.
Now we get to see the J.J. McCarthy experiment.
So we will see. So, and sadly, none of the games. One of the games this past weekend was good, and that was the Washington-Tampa game. Everything else was just terrible. You know, it was funny because, you know, watching the new college football playoff, you know, hearing everyone bitch the first week about, oh, these games are terrible, there's too many teams. No one said a word about how bad the games were in the NFL this past weekend. I didn't hear one peep of, well, Denver shouldn't be in there, it should have been Cincinnati. And people got to complain just to complain. But so I will present this to you. What team impressed you the most over the weekend?
I think the Bills did well. They didn't really focus on any one thing. They ran the ball well with James Cook, many receivers, touched the ball. I thought they did quite well. Yep. Defense was a little weaker than I expected.
After that first drive, they clamped down.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, Dorian, your thoughts?
For me, I gotta say Houston Texans because the Houston Texans made Jim Harbaugh look like didn't he wasn't aligned with this defense.
Well, no, 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 no. No, I'm not. I'm not going to put this on Minter and Harbaugh. I'm going to put this on Herbert becoming Jake Delhomme.
No, that's not how you get to do that. You don't get to say that Jim Harbaugh got Herbert's turnovers under control, and then when he has a bad game, it has nothing to do with coaching.
That's fair, but it wasn't the defense that Dorian was referring to.
I
That
just Yeah. So is it fair to say? Do you think that the defense got discouraged because how Herbert was playing?
yes, because that game should have been 14-0 after the end of the first quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't. And then after they went up 6-0, they could not do shit with the ball. So it's not so much they got discouraged; they got tired and exhausted. And then when Stroud fumbled the ball, picked it up and threw it 30 yards, that's when they got discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then your great quarterback who's been turnover free most of the season throws a pick six and then another pick that was taken back to like the 15. You're like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? So we will see the true Houston team this week when they play Kansas City. We'll see if that was just a mirage because Jake Delhomme played for the Chargers, or if the Houston has really improved since they played Kansas City a few weeks ago.
We're gonna find out. Don't do that.
So, but before we get into the games and the upcoming games, because those should be better, we can talk about the coaching changes. So Mike Vrabel to New England, that was pretty much a gimme. Um, so I will ask Dorian. I hate to do this, but I'm going to, even though I'm gonna hate myself for the rest.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. Okay, then take it. If you know where I'm going, I won't even ask the question. Take it.
It's something about the Jaguars.
No, no, it's not
No.
not where I was going.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So the New England Patriots hired Mike Vrabel after flying Byron Leftwich in because he was living in Connecticut.
Oh yeah.
Because it was a cheap flight to get him there
Exactly. They probably
to
took him on
satisfy the
Spirit, too.
Rooney Rule. So my question to you, and like I said, this is why I hate to do this: does the NFL just need to get just do away with the Rooney Rule because it's just not working?
Yeah. I think you should. I think they should because what you're doing is that, and plus, like a lot of the black coaches will start realize like we know you're not really giving us a chance. You're just doing this so you're not looking to be racist, right? So because um more coaches are going to stop showing up. I forgot what coach I was watching, but the coaches are having their agents ask the teams like give me a percentage of him possibly getting his job. If it's less than 40%, we're not coming.
Yeah, and realistically, everyone should do that. If you're going for a
Mm-hmm.
job, and like, look, there's just no way that this thing's posted so that the company can say it's posted publicly. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, the Rooney Rule. I think the intent was good, but it doesn't matter
Right.
because if a team says I want to hire that guy, but I have to go through these other steps to do it, they're going to hire the guy they want.
Right.
So what's the point? Now,
Right.
on the flip side, I don't know how to fix the fact that there's like what, two minority coaches in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, one nuked his, Brian Flores nuked his career, so I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah. And I think I believe that once the Rooney Rule goes away, I think that you'll start seeing um um, you know some more black coaches because nowadays like it's like a slap in the face now. It's like It's like you know you're not gonna hire me. Why am I here? Like, just cut to the chase. I'm not Chris Simone. We know you want Brady. We know that. Just go ahead and hire him. You don't need us to come in and bullshit our time and you bullshitting us about how you make a wonderful impact in the organization coming on board. And the next thing you know, it's like, but you won't hire me. You said I'm a fine candidate. What about me makes me a fine candidate, and does my characteristics fit in your scheme?
Now, what's interesting about the job interviews and the candidates is, again, there are people that are going for jobs, black and white, that are going for jobs that have no chance of getting them. They're just interviewing to interview. But what I thought was interesting was hearing the Rex Ryan interview for the Jets,
Mm.
and he flew there on his own accord. They did not pay for him to go there, but they say, "Hey, we'll bring you. You can come in, but it's the Jets, so you got to pay for your own flight." He sat there in front of the GM, the Johnsons, and said, "Look, y'all are the Jets. Ain't no one else want to be your coach. I want to be your coach. There's other coaches that want to be an NFL coach. I want to be the Jets coach." And I'm like, you're probably not going to get the job, but that's a good way to interview for it. Hire me because no one else is going to want it. So now I will say this, that I have never seen Mr. Thomas over there as mad as he was in the group chat yesterday when I asked what Adam Schefter said when he was going through his coaching candidates, because he was talking about the Dallas Cowboys. He said that there is an interest in Deion Sanders, and Deion has now said that he's staying at Colorado. But he said, well, they also have interest in Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn and Matt Nagy. And I went, Matt Nagy to Dallas? And BJ almost jumped through the phone from Ulaha to Sanford to strangle me.
Yep. Tell him what I said. Tell him what I said. You want to bring it up? Tell him what I said.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's verbatim. I don't appreciate any paraphrasing or editing of my statements. I don't approve it. They're all copyrighted.
So,
trademark.
The exact quote. What the hell is it? Oh,
shouldn't be that far back.
So yeah, the exact quote was, I said, did Schefter just drop Matt Nagy to Dallas? And BJ, as eloquent as BJ always is, fuck you, fuck the state of Michigan, the Lions, UCF, and the Wolverines.
Fuck your whole world. And if you repeated it, your kids were next.
That would be something else if Jerry pulled that. Man, I'm so glad.
I quit. I'm so glad I got a Josh Allen jersey. At least I can.
You gonna be honorary Bills fan if you make that?
Full disclosure, I was a Bills fan way back.
Oh, that's right.
I'm from up that way.
Yeah.
But I just bought the jersey because I like Josh Allen. But it makes it way easier to jump shit if you got clothes.
Yeah, that's true.
So, well, I mean, let's play that out. So I think there's 6 openings left because the Dallas has let Mike McCarthy just walk away. Okay, so there's Dallas, there's Chicago, the Jets, the Jaguars, the Saints, and the Raiders. Now, we talked last week about which job you would want. Which job is the least appealing of those 6?
Jets.
Yeah. Yes.
You got a diva quarterback, an aging wide receiver, a wide receiver who thinks he's better than he is, a patchwork offensive line, and a defense that went from top 5 to middle of the pack.
Over the Saints?
Saints defense is still effective.
Mm-hmm.
That offense, though.
Offense was putrid.
A lot of the same problems.
At least with the Jets, I have a feeling Aaron Rodgers won't be there next year. With the Saints, I'm pretty sure Derek Carr will still be there.
Good luck with that. Told you, it's a 10-point game now.
Yeah, so Florida can come back. 16 in college, 16 in basketball just in general, isn't like what it used to be.
No.
But you come back on defense, so as long as if their defense intensity picks up and not give up another 50 points and a half, they get the chance.
Yeah, it's actually an 11-point game, sorry.
So, but yeah, I was listening to somebody like, well, the Saints should go after John Gruden. Y'all have fun with that. Please go after John Gruden.
I was talking to my older brother about that, and John Gruden hasn't been successful since he's had a Hall of Fame defense.
No.
Like a once-in-a-generation type defense.
And I believe his actual record is like 500.
Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, his coaching record is 117 and 112. So. Well, and that goes back to like when they were talking about Dion going to Dallas. And I was like, well, first of all, Jerry ain't going to let that happen. Because he ain't going to let someone take the spotlight from him. Ain't no way in hell. But number two, Dion's 13 and 11. And what BJ calls the JV side of college football.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter. You're talking about metrics that don't matter to Jerry. He just wants somebody that's right for what he's got going on. So even if it means Dion kind of being the star, the fact of the matter is Jerry will still be out in the media. There's nothing that can be done to stop that, or it would have been stopped by now.
You don't think that Dion would get more attention than Jerry?
Impossible. Jerry won't let it happen, even if he hired him.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons Dion's okay in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean he can realistically, if Dion wanted to, he could stay in Colorado for 20 years. Because if he just gets that team to be consistently 9-3, 10-2 here and there, make a bowl games, maybe make a playoff here or there, and be relevant, that fan base will be happy. Whereas if he goes to Dallas, he has to win a championship in 5 years, or he's gone. Like, and not just win a championship, like he has to make the championship game in 3. And I think that's the bigger problem, is whatever coach goes in there not only has to deal with Jerry Jones, and has to deal with general manager who doesn't quite understand football, but the pressure to take a roster that has some holes and needs to take it to an NFC championship game almost immediately, that's an almost impossible task.
I'm trading Dak this year for next year's first rounder from somebody.
There was a thing that was floating around that Dak was brought up. Trade Dak to Pittsburgh for Mike Tomlin.
I'd be fine with that.
I honestly, I think that'd be good for everyone.
Yeah.
I think having Tomlin in Dallas to be an adult to everyone, I think is needed. Dak needs a change of scenery. In Pittsburgh, if they just got a competent quarterback, would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And Dak, for all of his turnover faults that the media likes to overblow, is well above average. So, and BJ, to your point about Gruden, so his first year in Tampa, took over for Tony Dungy, who I believe made the NFC Championship game the year before. They were 12-4, and that's the year they won the Super Bowl. Since then, has not won a playoff game. Only had 3 winning seasons since 2002.
Yeah, I'm not. He's been thrown in the hat with Dallas too. I'm not necessarily impressed with the idea.
And I know he had some HR related stuff, but realistically, it's the NFL. No one cares. People care about results, and he does not deliver results. He just doesn't. So no power rankings this week, but we do have games to pick. So again, just like college, Dorian, don't put money on your picks. Dorian was 2-4 last week. BJ with an overall record for the season of 161-98. I went back and filled in the weeks we were missing.
Thank you.
You were 2-4 last week. I was 5-1.
I was 4-2 last week.
4-2. Sorry, Dorian was 2-4.
Whoa, yeah, don't do that to me.
I am 141-118. I was 5-1 last week. The only game that I missed is the same game that all of us missed. It was the Chargers game. So we will start Saturday afternoon in Kansas City. Kansas City is a 7.5-point favorite over Houston.
I think Kansas City can cover that.
Dorian?
I am going to say Kansas City.
Yeah. I think Kansas City started to find their stride towards the end of the season. And it's weird to say for a team that was 15-2. But the offense was starting to click like it normally is. It's like, oh, look, the players are around the corner. Let's start playing well. And they really needed the bye. I mean, they're an older team. They desperately needed it. I think it served them well. I'm going Kansas City as well. Okay. The team we didn't talk about, the Washington Commanders, are playing Detroit. Detroit's a 9.5-point favorite. Before we actually pick this game, is there anything you guys want to say about the Washington Tampa game? Because it was the only really good game from this past weekend.
It was very entertaining. Yeah, it was just that gunslinger mentality. Like Baker wasn't going to let his team down. Did best he could, and protecting. I like how the front four of Washington, they were effective, but they weren't like ESPN's of the world was saying um, how Washington's defensive front was going to overwhelm the Bucks.
Sure.
Exactly.
So, BJ, your thoughts on Washington, Dallas? I'm sorry, Washington, Detroit.
Oh, I think Detroit's going to win that.
You think they cover the 9.5?
Yeah, I think they cover the 9.5 too. I think Washington's about at the end of their rope.
And Dorian?
I'm going to say Detroit. I'm Ross St. Brown. Is a beast, man. Oh my God, he's a beast. He's a defensive back's nightmare because he runs. The thing is, he runs routes like I'm not saying he is, but he runs routes like Larry Fitzgerald, and he's strong. Like he reminds me of like Hines Ward, but can run better routes than Hines Ward. That's who he reminds me.
It's a good
Because
comparison.
what is he like 6? He's like 6 foot, right? 5'11". Am I St. Brown
I
or
think he's
6'1"?
6'1".
Yeah. So he's like what? He's like 6'1", maybe a good 190, 195, maybe 200. And like it's like his route running, the way that the yards after catch, like it's hard to bring St. Brown down. Um, so yeah, I think he's got a big game against the Commanders.
Yeah. ESPN has him listed at 6 foot flat, 202 pounds. But yeah, if you've got a coach that can scheme you open,
Mm-hmm.
and that's key. People don't understand that. And you've got a crisp route runner. That's a great combination to have. And I think that's where Ben Johnson is best utilized. Is his scheme, his play calling, is what allows these guys to flourish. Because I think Jamison Williams, let me pull it up. Yeah, he only has on the season, where is it? 58 catches for 1,000 yards.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Because the way Johnson's offense works, he allows him to catch the ball in space with the concepts that he has and go. And that's actually why I'm not just saying this because I want to keep Ben Johnson in Detroit. I don't think Ben Johnson is going to be a good head coach. I think he is a fantastic offensive coordinator, a fantastic play caller, but I think that's where he spends most of his time. I mean, for obvious reasons, he's an offensive coordinator, but I don't think he's mastered the CEO aspect of what you need to be a head coach. So, all of that to be said, I'm actually picking Washington to beat the 9.5 point spread. I think Detroit wins, but I think Washington beats the spread. So you got the Philadelphia Eagles, who looked god awful, but this funny thing is Green Bay looked even worse. Or a 6 point favorite over the Rams, who play the Minnesota Vikings. And if you just watch that game in a bubble, you think, oh my God, the Rams are fucking amazing. Because they just beat the pants off a 14-3 team. As we discussed earlier, that 14-3 team may have been fraudulent throughout the season.
Yeah, I was shocked though.
I was not. I won money on that game. BJ, who you got?
Unpopular opinion, I'm going with the Rams.
Dorian?
Whew. You know, Puka and Cooper Cup getting off. Had a moment. It's tough, but I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I just said that, every single year there's a team from Wildcard Weekend that looks great. And everyone thinks, oh, this seems surprising. This team can do things. Last year it was Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the beatdown they put on Cleveland when everyone, including us, picked Cleveland to win that game, and Houston beat them by 20, and then went into Baltimore and could not do jack shit. I have a feeling that's the way this game's going to be. Let's not forget that Philly beat them already this season, 37-20. And I think everyone's overhyping the Rams because Minnesota was just that bad, on top of the fact that the Rams were playing an emotional game. So I'm actually going Philly to beat the spread in this one. So the game of the weekend, probably the game of the year. Baltimore is currently a 1 point favorite of a Buffalo. This game was initially a Buffalo 1 point favorite. It's now flipped. It's probably going to go back and forth. I mean, realistically, even the FPI, the Football Power Index thingy that ESPN has this game split 50-50. They don't fucking know. So I'm going to go to people who are much smarter than those at ESPN. I'm going to ask BJ Thomas, who's winning this game and why?
I'm going with the Bills. And I don't know why. I just like the way Josh Allen's been playing this year. More under control. You don't really know what receiver's getting the ball. Could be any one of 2 tight ends, 3 receivers, or Dalvin Cook. They're pretty solid across the board. And yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Okay. Dorian, same question to you. Who wins and why?
I'm gonna take. It's hard. I'm thinking about what I've been seeing from both teams. Um,
Now,
I'm gonna
this
say
game's
okay.
in Buffalo, and the forecast is supposed to be clear, but 21 degrees.
Yeah, it's gonna be brick. So on that alone, I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Bills.
I can't get 35-10 out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
When these two teams played earlier this season, I can't get that out of my head. And, this is one of those games, like, if you blink, you're going to miss half a quarter. Because all these teams want to do is run the ball.
Hmm.
I mean, I think Baltimore ran it 29 times against Pittsburgh, and Buffalo ran it like 45 times against Denver. That's what they want to do, which is you're just going to bleed the clock. I mean, it's going to limit your possessions. So then you start looking at, well, who's got the better run defense, because they both have good run offenses. Baltimore's run defense is the best in the league. Buffalo's is mid. But to BJ's point, Baltimore's pass defense is god awful. I don't think it's going to matter though. I think those linebackers are going to be hit by a very fast, lots of momentum, very cold Derrick Henry, and it's going to hurt a lot. So I'm going Buffalo. I'm sorry, I'm going Baltimore. So should be a fun weekend of games. That Baltimore and Buffalo game, I think, is, like I said, it's probably going to be the game of the year. So we shall see. So before we close, I did want to mention. So I was at the Magic game Sunday, and since you guys picks, the special guest was T Mac, so that was cool. That was fun. But here's a list of players that either didn't play due to injury, or had to leave due to sickness or additional injury. Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner, Jalen Suggs, KCP, Gary Harris, Jed Howard, Goga Benghazi, and Tristan De Silva. De Silva
Still
played
beat
for
the 76ers.
what? When they played the 76ers.
And they still beat the 76ers.
Yes. With Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. De Silva went out there, in the starting lineup and left after a minute. Word is he was sick. My guess is he probably had a code brown and did not want to go back into the game.
Sometimes you got to cut it loose.
But I mean, they were out there with literally G Leaguers beating a quality NBA team.
This has been par for the course for a couple months now.
Yeah, and that's why I sent you guys those pictures. So the NBA.com, is kind of doing the midseason report, and it's midseason. I think the Magic are like 23-18, so it's 41 games. 2 of the NBA.com beat writers, so half of the people that were on there, had Jamal Mosley as Coach of the Year.
Mm.
And again, if as a coach you try to get the most out of what you've got, I don't think you could have asked any more from Mosley. That dude is building mansions out of Lincoln Logs. And it's fun to watch. And Polio came back. And I heard that Franz is about a week or 2 away from coming back. So, and that team is still, as of right now, 4th in the East with all of those injuries.
Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. So, well, that's all I've got on our hit list for the night. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay. So, hopefully,
Getting ready to be in the dead zone.
yeah, that's the thing. So, like, we've got a couple more weeks of NFL. Again, one more college game, and then it's going to be NBA and college basketball talk. Which, by the way, BJ, what's the status of the Florida game?
Well, I think it's like 6 points.
Okay, making.
It's a commercial right now.
I'm showing 62-53. It's 9. Hey, and it's in single digits.
Yeah, they've put themselves in a much better position than they were
Yep.
just a few minutes ago. That's for sure.
And what's the rule is, you want to be down less points than minutes remaining, because that's better to come back. That's where they're at. So, yeah, like you said, we're kind of in we're approaching the dead zone. We'll have basketball. So we'll go from there. Might actually have to start paying attention to other NBA teams other than the Magic, which whatever. But gentlemen, this has been Sandlot Sports.